Good morning, Park Bench, Fort Myers. I'm Pamela Pfeiffer with CRA Consultants, and this morning I'd like to share an interesting experience that I have had. I moved to Fort Myers a few years ago, and I was retired and decided I wanted to go back to work. So I had to integrate myself in the community, and I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do, and I wanted to go into commercial real estate. I was with another firm for a little while. It wasn't a great fit, and I kind of announced that I was leaving that firm. Within an hour of me making that announcement, I got a call from a gentleman who said, "I'm Ray Sandelli, and we need to talk to you about coming to CRA Consultants." Ray and I spent a couple weeks talking and emailing back and forth. I just developed huge respect for this man, and he's honest, transparent, and just a great professional. So of course I came to join the CRA team, and Ray and I were working together. So about a year ago, in 2019, Ray was approached by Governor DeSantis to be a county commissioner for Lee County, and in fact he became appointed as a Lee County commissioner. So this morning we're talking to Ray and getting a few minutes to learn a little bit about Ray Sandelli. Good morning, Ray. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Pam. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your kind comments. You know, life brings a lot of different opportunities and challenges and everything, but also brings great opportunities. And what I take away from our relationship is certainly a great professional relationship, but a personal relationship that means a great deal to me. So thank you. It's been my pleasure. And for whatever I've been able to help you with, you've helped me as well. So glad to be here.
Thanks again. I appreciate it. So tell me, Ray, in your role as a Lee County Commissioner over the past year, what has been the most surprising thing that you've discovered?
Well, it's been a lot of the different things. First of all, this came very suddenly. You know, I was very happy in my personal life and professional life, and when the governor approached me, we had some very initial conversations. But once the decision was made, from the time that he called, I was in the seat the following week. So there was a lot to absorb and a lot to try to assimilate, and try to do the homework necessary to make the right kind of decisions. So that was the first month or so was pretty challenging. I think the thing that surprised me initially, and I had in my past the ability to have responsibility for the whole state of Florida. So I was on the road every week, and when I was in Miami, it was one thing. When I was in Jacksonville, it was something else. When I came to Lee County, I had a map on the wall of all of Lee County, and I realized how big Lee County really was. And we're 750,000 people roughly, which makes us larger than about 4 states in the United States. So it's a big geography, it's a big population, and while there are some similarities in needs, you know, there's also some things that are common. And so it was interesting to see what it took operationally to run a county of 750,000 people. And so I explored everything, you know, from, you know, what's our waste to energy? How do we deal with that? And so I visited that, and I've met the people, great team, and I was very impressed with the technology, which is really world class, and all of a sudden become very proud of who we are as Lee County. The other thing was, I come from the private sector, you know, like you do, you know, and I've been really pleasantly surprised at the commitment of the Lee County team, you know, to the constituents that we represent. There's a sense of responding, a sense of caring. It's a great culture. And when you know that you can depend on those other team members, you know, to deliver on behalf of somebody, and not everybody agrees with you, you know, and whatever you're going to do, it's very fulfilling that way. So it's been a challenge, and I think we always learn more in times of challenge than we do in times of success. But it's worked very well, and you know, it took me right after I took office. The question is, are you going to run again? And I said, you know, I need a couple months to see if I feel capable of doing the job. Do I enjoy it enough at this point in my life? And then, is this the right fit for the party? It wasn't about me. It was about how do we strengthen, you know, our party, and how do we strengthen the board, you know, so that we can deliver best.
So what do you think was the defining moment that made you decide you wanted to actually run? Because elections are coming up in a few weeks, and clearly you've been running a campaign. What do you think was what kind of made you decide that, listen, I want to do this for longer? I think I have something to offer. What was that defining moment?
I think there's a couple things. One was going back to my childhood, we were always committed to the family. We were always committed to our community. There was a sense of service beyond yourself. As you know, I spent 8 years in the Navy. I wore the uniform of the country. I was very proud of that sense of service.
Blue Angel?
Well, yeah. And then when we look at what we do in commercial real estate, it's all about service. It's all about people and how do we best serve that. And few people are better than you, by the way. So there was a sense of service there. When I came into this, it was really kind of a continuation of that sense of serving the community, listening well, trying to be respectful for people's opinions, and then communicating well. So I had to get myself into a place that I was comfortable with. Then there's also the practical aspects of when do you start a campaign and what are the elements of that. Fortunately, there was a gentleman named Terry Miller who met with me right as I came into office to help me lay out what the job was about, but also gave me the time to explore to when I was comfortable to commit and then put a plan in place, which was actually end of October of last year. And before you know it, here we are 30 days, from primaries.
Yeah.
So I think it was convincing myself that I enjoyed the work, that I wanted to go forward. And that, as you know, 1 year is not a lot of time to get anything done.
No, it's not.
I felt if I could finish this year, I have, a 4-year runway ahead of me, I could really get involved in what we're doing. So that was really the defining moment.
So going forward, what are your goals for the community?
Well, I think it's been a very challenging time, and as I said, I think we all learn in times of challenge more so than times of success. I think it's very clear that when the decision was made to shut down the economy in part, while it was probably necessary at that time, we understand that the challenges that proposed. So my goal is certainly, number one, is to get us back to work, to go after jobs, and when we go after jobs, as you know, just like tenants, you want to retain, the jobs that you have. How do we dial into the people that are here, that have committed here, how you make them successful? Because most of the time, they're your best reference in helping to...
They're the strength.
They're the strength,
Yeah.
and they're the commitment.
Yeah.
And many times, other companies want to talk to other companies as opposed to, somebody in the public sector, that type of thing. So one is to respect and help our existing tenants grow or entities grow. And the second part is to attract new people here. So that's number one. The second part is we need to be a business-friendly state, business-friendly community. People have options, and so our people are moving to Florida, as you well know, for a variety of different reasons. From the business perspective, if we can maintain taxes, low taxes, and we can remove some of the impediments, the restrictions of doing business, it becomes a much easier thing. And so that's what we're working on. One is to restore jobs, to maintain the companies we have here, and to attract other companies. The other thing is to build communities. When we're attracting people, we've all been welcomed here at one time by somebody else. What kind of communities are we building? And not just a development, what kind of communities are we building? So do we have a variety of different levels of housing? Can we match those communities up with green space and conservation space? So you have that feeling of being open and we're respectful of our conservation space or respectful of water. All those pieces that fit together. We have some great projects now. I was at a number of different ones, but some of the latest ones we have, I was out there with the Fish and Wildlife, I was out there with the Audubon Society, I was out there with the developer, people from the county, and they were incredibly impressed with what was brought together to build a community that is everything we want it to be. And we're still working at it.
So it sounds like you're trying to work towards balance between big business, independent business, a balance between socioeconomic differences,
Sure.
and a balance between nature and
Yeah.
industry, and so that's the key, isn't it?
It's all-
Balance.
And that is the key word, balance. It's never here or here. It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And how do you get people to understand that we're all trying to find where that balance is? And that not everybody gets everything they want, but there's a balance there that lets it work.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a balance in attitude, sometimes it's a balance in housing, sometimes it's a balance in business itself. If we can get to that point and we can be understanding enough of each other,
And open
That's the
enough
sweet spot.
and coming to the table together and everybody working things out.
Well, you know, a good friend of mine told me once, said, listen well, have empathy for who's across the table, and then communicate in that order.
Yeah.
It's not ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
You know?
So I know you have a very close, tight-knit family, and I certainly know you as a professional. What are some of your hobbies and interests outside of
Working?
politics? Politics and, yeah.
Well, I've always loved the water. And so, you know, I'd say I gravitate with my wife, and she's the same way. We love to go to the beach. We love, you know, long walks on the beach and that type of thing. When the water is what we all want it to be, there's not a better situation. I came to Florida in 1970, come from the Northwest to go to Pensacola for flight training. And I remember standing on the beach in this beautiful white sands of the Panhandle and the beautiful Gulf, and I thought, I'm going to live here someday. I'm going to be a Floridian someday. Yeah. So it was coming back to that. I try to ride my bike every morning, a bicycle, not a motorcycle. And to me, it's a great way to start the day. The sun's coming up. It's a very peaceful time. And I try to do that as much as I can. But my kids will tell you, Dad, you need more hobbies. So, I play at golf. I can't say I play golf, but it's a great game.
Well, this is certainly a great place to live, work, and play.
It is. It really is. And I think that's what we're trying, that balance that you said, that's that balance we're trying to create to not only welcome people here, but to give them a lifestyle that we all enjoy.
Yes. Well, Ray, thank you so much for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Tell us what your website is, if you don't mind.
It's raysandelli.com.
Okay.
And if you go to that, it'll give you all the information that you need.
Okay.
And more importantly, certainly we'll love everybody to earn their vote, and we're off and running.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My pleasure, Pam.